Hey, welcome back to Figurama by enemyzero. I'm enemyzero. And today, with the new Dungeons and Dragons marketing blitz going on right now, the new movie coming out, some of the old classic figures getting re-released by Hasbro and everything, well, NECA, my favorite toy company in the world, has also released a figure that is near and dear to my heart. And his name is Warduke. And Warduke is a pretty generic character from way back in the day. However, his character design was actually used to market the game in the early days. And so when I think of Dungeons and Dragons from my childhood, not that I was a big player or anything, I think of his design. And so I had to get the NECA figure once I saw it. So let's check it out together, let's play with it a little bit, and let's see how cool it is. Right, like I said in the intro, today we're going to be looking at Warduke, which is my quintessential D&D character. The one character I think of when I think of Dungeons and Dragons, I picture him from the old cartoon series, and he was on so many that like advertisements. He was on some of the book covers and stuff. Like I remember seeing him on magazines, or it could have been like generic versions of him, but he's the one of the most well-known characters. In me, who's not a Dungeons and Dragons expert, I still, when I think of Dungeons and Dragons, I think of him, and I think of him more than the other figure that came out with him. Grim Snarl or whatever his name is. I forget his name. But I had to get Warduke just because, you know, the nostalgia of the costume and everything, especially with the cartoon. I did watch the cartoon, and Hasbro just released actual figures from the cartoon series, and they look pretty good. $24.99, not so sure about that though. But they look pretty good. Maybe someday if I ever see them on, sale or something like that, I'll pick them up. But the Warduke, when NECA announced this and showed this off, I was in. I was in. Give me a hyper-realistic one, NECA. Please do it. Please do it. And they did it. So this is obviously the front cover. It's in the style of, the old D&D guides and everything. The covers, the painted style. And take note of the picture too, because Warduke is officially, in my research, he's officially left-handed, okay? I've seen other videos that have the sword in his right hand. He's left-handed, okay? And it's got the traditional window packaging, obviously. So, you can see everything going on in there. Try not to get too much of the glare. My setup is kind of weird with the lights, but there he is in there. We got the nice action shot on the other side. All right, first side of the box, Dungeons and Dragons. Warduke is his name. Nice headshot right there. He's got the creepy, I remember his helmet from when I was little. That's obviously his signature thing is he's got the helmet with the black face and the red eyes, and you never get to see his face. So obviously he does have a backstory in there somewhere. But just looking at the stuff, just looking at the illustrations and the cartoon and everything, he's so mysterious. He's almost like the Boba Fett of Dungeons and Dragons. Other side, Dungeons and Dragons got a full body shot with his sword, which is actually in the wrong hand. It's in the wrong hand. Warduke, ultimate action figure. Top, you got the normal info. Bottom, you got all the cool kids in school. On the back, obviously, it's got the bigger pictures, and this guy's name is Grim Sword, by the way, not Grim Snarl. But anyways, when I think of D&D, this always comes to mind. I'm sort of familiar with him too, but I mean, Warduke is the quintessential, like I said before, the quintessential D&D character to me. He is an evil character. He's a mercenary. It explains it on here. He wears a flaming long sword, and it looks super awesome. And I can't wait to get it out and check it out because he's amazing. He's amazing. His character design and everything, I can't wait. So let's get it open. Fresh NECA plastic smell. It's better than the new car smell. So starting with the figure first, like always, first impressions are, it's super impressive, again, how NECA takes, 2D images from from, you know, shows, cartoons, you know, D&D manuals, and you know, translates them to 3D and makes it look so good, makes it look so realistic. And obviously, Warduke has had some figures before. I'll put some pictures here of his old figures. There has been D&D figures, you know, throughout the ages. And so he does have some 3D representation, you know, along the line. But this is obviously completely different because it's a hyper sort of realistic, grungy, you know, looking version. And, you know, looking at the body, it matches his sort of aesthetic perfectly from what I know about him. You know, he always wears this big helmet. I think it's called a dread helm or something like that in, you know, D&D circles. Like I said, I'm not a D&D expert. Don't come at me. Don't lynch me or anything. But it's called a dread helmet. He never takes it off. So obviously, you know, they had to make his face just black inside, just like the show. All you see is those piercing red eyes sort of staring at you. You know, he's got that half armor, half unarmored look to him, except for his chest, obviously. But he's got the, you know, the blue chainmail going down this side, this leg. He's got, you know, more armor components on this side, so he's completely not symmetrical, okay? It would probably drive me crazy if I was in his outfit, okay? I would need it to be a little bit more symmetrical. But, you know, the details on the difference between the two, right? Like it's got that, you know, the sculpt of the blue chainmail in here. So it's got that, you know, metallic blue with a dark wash in there. That looks fantastic. Going down his arm to, you know, this gauntlet, this metal gauntlet, which is really big and bulky. The way they did it is so good because it looks like armor. You can tell it's armor on top of, like, you know, his, not his skin, but there's like a leather thing covering it. But, you know, it's armor plates on top of, you know, the outer layer of that leather thing over his skin, if that makes sense. Like even the details on the inside, hopefully my camera will focus, the details on the inside of the gauntlet right here, it's got the leather straps with the painted on buckles and everything on the inside to give it that aesthetic just a little bit more, if that makes sense. Now, I don't know if this is from some old artwork or this is, you know, a new thing they did. But details like that, I've said this before 100 times, like details like that are just amazing to me. The attention to detail that NECA puts into their products. It's so cool. Like it 100% looks like armor on top of someone's body, if that makes sense. Not just an armored body, but armor on top of the body. It looks so good. It looks so good. So arm-wise, he does have the cut right there, that articulation right there that I really like. Arm goes up to about there. Go around. It's a little tight. Fresh out of the package, it's a little tight, but that's the way NECA rolls, okay? This side is a little harder to do. It's very hard, very stiff. It doesn't go up very much. It does have that swivel there, and obviously it's not going to go around very much because of that. So the movement on this side is a little more restricted than the other side, if that makes sense. So maybe I'll have to loosen it up a little to check it out a little bit better. But that's the arm articulation. Head, he does have a decent amount of head movement, even with the helmet on. He doesn't go up a whole lot. He does go down quite a lot, though. There's no hindrance there. He does have a pretty long neck if you look inside. It's a little bit of side to side, not that much. And he can do the exorcism. Just be careful these fins, don't pull them off. So let's stay on his chest and his, you know, arms for a minute. Obviously, he's got this big shoulder pad here. It is, you know, harder plastic, and it is a separate piece too. He does have articulation at the waist, but you got to be careful with these straps because these straps are not sculpted on. This is a separate piece, right? So see, the straps actually, you know, can bend and stretch as you turn the body. So just be a little bit, you know, careful of how you're posing him as to not rip those out or anything. But that to me is amazing, rather than a sculpt to put all these extra pieces on here. The necklace is, you know, a separate piece too. It's got a nice gold color, the red gem in the middle, I guess. And you know, this is indicative of his cartoon character, his old character drawings. He always had this necklace on too. I don't know if there's a story behind it. And this is obviously his flesh-colored side. So the sculpt on the flesh, he's a muscular man. Okay, he's a muscular man. Except he skips forearm day. Okay, you'll notice there's only single joints here. So single joints on the elbows and single joints on the knees. So again, my saying with these types of figures and with, you know, NECA's movie figures, Ninja Turtle figures, stuff like that, is they're not really meant to be superposable. So, you know, to me, whatever looked great, it looks great. As long as it's semi-posable and looks great, I don't need, you know, I don't know, 4 jointed elbows, so he can do, you know, jump kick moves from the moon or anything like that. So that looks good to me. So single joint on the elbow, hand forward and backwards. This is his grippy hands, probably his sword hand. He comes with a punching hand and a pointing hand, which we'll see in a second. So that's the upper chest area. The helmet is just completely iconic. Like this helmet is what I think about when I think about D&D. First thing pops into my head is, you know, this helmet with the piercing red eyes, and it looks so good. The metallic, how they did the metallic blue, it definitely has got that hue to it, so you can tell it's metallic, but it's also, you know, a little bit grungy, a little lost its luster, you know, from its early days of its infancy of being made. Going around to the back, you have, you know, obviously the back of the strap, back of the necklace, more leather straps with, you know, buckles on them, which look fantastic. You also have a big sword holder. One thing I'm impressed with this figure is I actually, when I took all the accessories out, which we'll see in a second, I wasn't sure he could hold everything, but he does. He has a holder for all 3 of his weapons and his shield, so he's got everything he needs. That's so cool. Going down to the bottom, he's got, you know, a nice red pouch right here with a painted on buckle. You got nice sculpting, nice soft plastic on the fur, his fur loincloth, you know. It's got a nice sculpt on it, a nice wash. It looks like real fur. It goes all the way around. It's obviously softer plastic. He's got the, you know, WWE Royal Rumble champion belt here. That's what I think when I see this. But all jokes aside, the details on it, the sculpt on it is so good. So good. I love the blacks on the eyes. They just didn't leave it one color. There's a little bit, you know, of a wash on it to give it a little darker look. It does have this red cloth part, you know, picking over the top. That's maybe his shirt. Maybe he ripped his shirt off at some point and it just, you know, folded down in there. Maybe that's what that is. I don't know. Going to the side, he does have a dagger holder right here, sheath, or whatever you want to call it. So there's one there, and the one on the other side is actually attached by real gold chain. I'm sure this is real gold, okay? I'm positive. But that's cool, a nice little touch like that. It's not symmetrical, like I said. Nothing about him is symmetrical. So even his knife holders, this one's just attached to the leather strap. This one's got the gold chain, the bling going on. Bling, bling. So going down to the legs, it continues, you know, everything up top, the asymmetry and everything. So he's got the nice chainmail with the nice wash, the nice sculpting details, all the way down to you know, a metal shin guard, which again has leather straps on the inside, which looks really good because it looks real. It looks realistic like that. It looks awesome. It's got nice pointy spikes on the side. It's a nice metallic, you know, silver with a little bit of grunge in there, and goes down to just a straight black boot. On the other side, he's got, you know, a swashbuckler's boot, sort of, maybe like an old pirate style boot with, again, those red gems. I don't know. Maybe he's got a thing for red gems. I don't know. But like I said before, single joints on the knees. So, you know, he can go pretty much that far back. Up, this doesn't hinder it too much. It is soft plastic. So that's his up. Not very much. Out. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. His up and out is pretty good. He's squatting. And there is articulation right here at both boots. So both boots can swivel around, so you can try to get his feet into, you know, a nice pose like that. All right, feet articulation, back, forward. And it does, you know, these do have some side-to-side swivel too, so you can get, you know, some good posing. Warduke says in his old cheesy cartoon voice, "Let's look at the accessories." Accessories-wise, this is what popped out to me first. This shield is so good. The sculpt work, the wash, the coloring on it, oh my gosh, it looks so good. And it's actually pretty hefty too. This is a pretty hefty piece of plastic, and I love the look. And again, it's not, you know, it's not symmetrical, just like him. There's some, you know, dents on this side that aren't on the other side, some rivets right there. Don't know what that is. It's got the, you know, big skull on it, his signature skull shield, which, you know, most of the illustrations of him back in the day, he has this shield that I've seen at least. And one cool thing about the back is they actually got it right, meaning they knew he was left-handed. Some people don't get it right because this is where his hand holds, right? This is where his arm goes in. So his shield is on his right hand. So they got this right. This is a left-handed shield based on these straps on the back, which again, look crazy good. Like, this is the back of the shield, but look at the sculpting. You're not even going to see this on the shelf. But look at the you know, the star pattern and everything, the wash on it, you know, how those indents, like, you know, he got into a battle and they hit the back of his shield somehow. You know what I mean? The leather strap again with the wash on it and that leather texture on it, and then the hard metal pole for him to hold on to. You know what I mean? Like, again, this is so cool. This is so cool. So I'll call this one a dagger, and it looks like he has three levels of swords. He's got a dagger, a short sword, and a long sword. So this is going to be the dagger. So, you know, I love how the blade's curved. I don't know if these are traditional weapons for him. I'm not that knowledgeable, but so I'll just talk about the design, right? So the design is great. Like, it looks different than the other ones. It's curved. You know, it's got a little bit of a wash there, some battle damage on the side of the blade. The handle is all, you know, the handle has a really good carved in texture, and it's got that same blue hue as his chainmail and his helmet, so it matches the rest of him perfectly. So I really like this dagger. So next up is a short sword. I'll call this a short sword. It's nice hard plastic, nice pointy end. It's got the same, you know, grungy metal look, that worn metal look on it. Give it a little dullness rather than a shininess. The handle, there's some obviously good details on the handle. It's got, goes back to his red gem again. There's another red gem. It's got more of that blue color on the handle along with gold and some really nice sculpting details. The handle down here has a little texture too. The little butt of the handle, I don't know what you want to call that in official sword terms, okay? I don't know what that's called other than the butt. Next up is his trusty signature long sword. So again, the details on this, just like the other ones. There's a nice dull silver on here, so, you know, it obviously looks like it's seen a lot of, you know, a lot of action. And it's got the red gem again. The red gem makes an appearance again on the, you know, nice dull but golden guard on the end. You know, the handle's all carved in. It's got all the leather straps on it. The end again is, you know, nice and detailed. It's not super plain or anything. And I'm sure this is probably his signature sword. Maybe it has a name or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up and put it on the bottom of the screen. And this does pair with the piece de resistance for the set. The flames. This is a flaming sword. And, you know, I don't know, he can make it flame. Fire on. And so the flame here has an amazing sculpt to it. If you look at it all around. I love, you know, the light yellow going to the orange and everything. It looks great. And the sword just slides right in. I don't know if I want to do it yet, but as far as I know, the sword just slides right in. It is pretty tight. Anyways, it's, there we go. So, sword. So he's got his long sword with the flaming attachment here. And this looks so good. So good. NECA outdid themselves for sure. Like, if this isn't a reason to pick up this figure, I don't know what is. This looks so cool. It looks so amazing. And of course he does come with hands. So there's one armored hand, a really open armored hand, a pointer flesh hand, and another grippy flesh hand too. So obviously you can tell which side they go on based on what they look like, because he's asymmetrical, remember? I really don't have much in the same vein to compare him to, so here's some random figures. Here's Goliath with his folded wings. And here is Spawn. Spawn from the Mortal Kombat line. He looks pretty good with them, to be honest. He fits right in with their aesthetic. I just don't have any more D&D or anything to compare this with, so this is what I'm doing for this video, okay? So let's check out how tall he is. So the helmet, it's a little over 7.5 inches. The wings on the helmet go up to about almost 8.5 inches. So he gets a lot of, so much like Goliath, he has a pretty big wingspan. So overall, having taken it out, played with it for a little bit, you know, posed it, done my play stuff, you know, my happy place. I can definitely say that I'm really happy with this figure. This figure hits everything that I like about a figure. And it really hits that nostalgia factor with the classic D&D and with, you know, the new D&D movie about to come out. New D&D figures are out. There's D&D marketing blitz right now, you know what I mean? He's definitely one of the coolest characters that I can remember from D&D. And it's great that we get such a cool character design in this day and age. Props to the normal NECA quality. I love it. Props to the normal NECA quality. If you have any interest in this, in the character design, or you're a D&D fan, I say for sure get it. I don't know if they're going to release more in this line or anything other than the 2 they already have. I'm not sure. But this is definitely easy to recommend for me because it's just such a cool design and so well done. So guys, gals, non-binary pals, thanks again for watching another Figurama with me, enemyzero. Stay tuned for more. Peace out.